be quiet.
Yeah.
That didn't last very
Yeah,
long.
good luck on that one. Okay, let's go ahead and drop. Change direction.
He feels better, is he?
Watch that you don't get checky with that right hand.
Okay.
As you're trying to push him to the outside or prevent him from falling to the inside, make sure that you're doing
Even
it.
pressure?
Yes, and for every little bit that you do with that inside indirect rein, continue to do a bit with the opening outside rein as well. So I still think that you're checky there. And I can watch your hand and see it, or it's really obvious. I watch the horse and I see the nose sort of dipping in. So it still wants to be just a, an increase in pressure, sort of a steady increase in pressure as opposed to that little checky move. Where the checky thing doesn't work is that if the horse knows that it's going to be a check, all he has to do is ignore you for half a stride. And then he knows that you're going to give again.
But what he does is he gives in.
Right.
And I have to keep the constant pressure on. Is that the idea?
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you find that he's submitting too much, then maybe you shouldn't have taken that much.
Yeah.
You guys come back in here for a minute.
Committee field has relaxed since yesterday, but less dull.
That's good. And that's the thing that you'll want to keep tweaking.
Yeah. I also thought he looked relaxed for 30 seconds Friday.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing that we want to keep trying to figure out with the day-to-day how close full and actual can we get, keeping that genuineness reaction to yield with the outside stuff. But he does, to me, he definitely looks more alert, he looks more reactive to you in a good way. Doesn't look like he's totally reactive. The ultra aware of how you react if he does scoot forward. Forward is okay. Another thing, another aspect of how you can potentially deal with it, maybe go for a softer mouthpiece on the bit, so that if he does go forward and hit the hand, that he doesn't hit corpsely or something like that. This is an example. I find this guy really funny horse with the way that he reacts in your hand. He's dull and unresponsive on the right hand a lot of the time, but then he does get a little bit overreactive as well. Even if you're tracking right, trying to get him off that inside hand, he just seems to overreact a little bit to the hand all the time. Then you go left, and it just looks like he's
Going down to the
yeah,
ground.
exactly. And I wonder whether a gag could be useful on this side as well. If you were to go to a gag, I think that goes with unjointed tapping mouth, which is softer than this. So we're going to add the gag, which is going to give you a little bit more leverage and a little bit more upward pressure on his mouth, but go with a softer mouthpiece so that the net effect in his mind is similar to what you have right now. It's just that the pressure's a more effective direction, maybe a little bit more upward pressure. So just, playing around with some different ideas to figure out where you're comfortable with it. I think you'd be happier if you stayed more upright. I think that would give you a more comfortable feeling of the horse is up in front of you where it should be. When he gets low, you're not worried it's going to fall over, but it's just nice to have that head and neck in front of you. To get going off from a distance, something like this, it's nice to have that horse with that head and neck in front of you to hold on to a little bit. So far, so good. He looks fine. We'll go back out to the rail in a minute and go back to the trot. We move into the canter. Try to peek him out of it, but if you feel that you're starting to lose him a little bit, still worry it's pretty good. If you feel like you're starting to lose him, you just come back to the wall. Have you given this guy any food or anything?
We gave him relaxing loss by him this morning.
Yeah, that's good. And I Really nice truck, Carrie. Pretty upright there. Keep him nice and energetic, forward moving like that. A little bit of inside bend. If he does start to get heavy, then just raise your hands slightly. Interesting. I was just going to say, Brady, even before he did that, I was going to say he just looks like he's a little bit more awake. And just as I was going to say it, he suddenly became a lot more awake right there in that corner. Yeah, very interesting. Change direction again. Still all right? That one is brighter looking. You needed to be stronger in that corner. He might not be far away from doing something.
Yeah, I felt the noise.
Yep, and I'm not trying to be negative in my thoughts, just trying to be realistic. And if something does happen, allow him to continue forward. kind of leaning forward a little bit, twisted to the inside, working really hard here. And then without my saying anything, I didn't tell you to look at the outside here, but without my saying anything else, you suddenly just went, oh,
And sat back.
sat back,
Shoulder
started,
blades
yeah, started to use your upper body, and just sat against them. So it suddenly went from being an arm wrestling contest for you to you just sort of sitting back and leaning against them a little bit. Such an important thing. Use your energy the right way. Use your body to your advantage. And the other thing is, it just makes sense to him with dress. You know, even the canter transition issue shows me that he's a little more responsive, reactive, anticipating maybe. But he's still behaving. So that's
He got very flippy with his ears and
yeah,
that sort of.
yeah. You know, it's probably at about this point on day one where he started to behave better.
What do I do then when he starts backing out?
Pet him and redirect him. Pet him and direct him. So, yeah, just give him a better direction to go. Sometimes if you keep kicking at him like that, you know, it's anticipation again. You know, just trying to give him a better direction. Yeah, I think it's just easier to sort of turn him in a direction. Especially with the drawings on too, it could become more of an issue. Good. How did that canter feel? Saw that over there. It's funny when he does it, he kind of gets like this, which might be the bit. Certainly yesterday's bit was a little bit more than this. Can't remember well enough with Pelham whether he went sort of down like that as he was getting away with you, or whether he ever came up here. Definitely. I think that's what it was. And I probably prefer up just because at least he's not pulling you out of position when he does it. So that's a good thing. It's so easy for me to say standing here. Don't be afraid of your body. Don't ride on it you're afraid of because that fearful ride you'll just become too inactive, at which point it's too easy for the horse to look around or do things that it shouldn't do. So, like with a canter transition, don't be afraid to tell him to canter on the right way. Don't be afraid to tell him off a little bit. Really close to suggesting that you carry a crop with him. It might only be a short little one. You won't need it necessarily for the flat one, but you do need it for the dumping. And maybe, but even now, every now and again, you might need it for the flat one too, like maybe that right wing tender departure if you feel that he's just not moving up with the
It's
right
just like
one.
so much in my hands instead of draw reins and reins.
Don't care.
Good answer.
Sorry.
I know it's coming.
And no, I don't mean to sound heartless, but you're a good rider. And the only way that you're going to get used to all of that stuff is just to do it. And, you know, I've got, I don't have huge hands, but I've got big enough hands, and I very comfortably can ride with a 3/4-inch rubber rein and draw reins in it. But you know what? If you feel more comfortable with a 5/8-inch rein and draw reins in a smaller handled whip, do it. Go left wing hander.
Same here when like everyone's standing up and moving stuff and talking and everything. I mean, do I
Hang
need
on,
to,
hang on a second. This is a great question.
do I need to
Terrific
stop being
question.
such a wuss and make you go into that corner?
Did I answer this question on day one?
Yes.
Which was,
Either avoid situations.
if you can't control it, avoid it. If you think that you have a chance of being able to control it, go for it.
Do I?
On Friday, no. So Friday you would cower in that corner over there. Yesterday, you'd go for broke. You'd have a crack at anything. On a day like today, because as I know you don't want anything to go wrong, I don't mind the idea of him doing a little something today, just because I'm still trying to figure him out. You know, it all happened in such a short period of time. And because these guys were working at the same time, I only saw parts of each one of those things. I would still love to see it again. I'd love to study it. I'd love to see your reaction to him. Just to help to understand it a little bit better, to understand where it's coming from, to understand how to avoid it, what other gear are the drawings the wrong thing? Are the drawings going to cause him to sort of surge forward and hit something that causes him to sort of do the wrong? I don't know.
And when you say a possible bit change, like a straight across happy mount,
That's really the bottom end of the spectrum. This could be a joint gap enough to be enough, soft enough, or
I do agree that it's going to get worse here.
yeah. So just try different things and see what might be one of those black rubber dog bone bits, you know, this straight thing, just something where he's happy. I haven't seen a need for more bit yet with this guy. Now, even like yesterday when he was really lazy and quiet, sometimes when horses get really lazy and quiet, they also become really luggy and heavy. He never went there. So I haven't seen the need for more bit. And just seeing the way that he reacts to the hand, he overreacts. So clearly, if you have a horse that's overreactive to the bit, you go with less bit. But the only time that he's really overreactive is when he's blowing the fuse still. So we'll just see what happens. So keep pushing things a little bit, and you know, ride into the corner. If you hear a bit of action going on down here, go ahead and ride to that end and see how he reacts. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
yeah,
it can be nothing, like you go walking by.
yeah, exactly.
And it's,
Yep. He's very aware of it. And as I was saying, don't discourage him from looking. As long as you feel that as he looks, he's like, oh, cool. But if he's looking and freaking out, then you've got to try to do a better job of not letting him look.
I just don't know the instant where he changes from looking to freak, like, to,
It's like it's a switch. And it's not something that's predictable at all. So, but I also don't think that inaction on your part is a solution either. I think that you get out there, you have an agenda, you have something that you're going to do, you just stick to that. And I think that if you just sit there and don't want to do anything, I don't think that's going to help. I don't think that getting exceedingly busy is going to help either. I think it's just you get out there, stick to your plan, and keep it constructive. Keep the thought process constructive. And I think that's your best bet. And when he's good, give him a little pat on the neck. Don't go overboard, because he's not doing anything that fabulous. And when he's bad, don't go nuts over that either. Just,
More positive than negative, but
yeah,
not overly positive.
absolutely. And if he does something fabulous,
Then yay.
yeah, like if he does if two cars smash head on and you happen to be trotting by the end of the arena and he doesn't react, hug him, kiss him and tell him what a great horse he is. Because that would be fabulous. All right, let's leave him. This is where things could start to go wrong. Just so aware of when he switches. Is there anything, is there any pattern to it? Which I don't think there is. I think it's kind of random. Mary Helen, soften up the drawings a little bit. That was as close to him doing the wrong thing back here as what I've seen. He never shot forward, but he definitely dropped behind you. No, you were fine. Stay back, Dick Carey, with your body. You sit well when you sit. You look good. Brady, he still looks fine.
Yeah.
Carey, what? Brady, you keep going. Mary Helen, you keep going. But Carey, you take a break for a minute.
Drive your eyes.
Yeah. You guys change direction.
Yeah, actually got kind of light.
Yeah. He still is too low relative to where I think he should be. But he wasn't lucky.
I'm not working, so maybe that's.
Yeah, and you're just sitting. You're almost saying the word like, you do what you're gonna do. I'm gonna stay up here. I'm gonna keep my body back. Yeah, much better. Still good, Brady?
Yeah.
Brady, next time around, canter over this little brown box here on the right page. Mary Holland, you just stay at the canter. Good man. More collected sooner than that on landing. I mean, you had the lead changes you had to do too. All the more reason to get that collection done sooner. Like I said yesterday, I want that lead change to be done before you get to the end of the ring. Do that again. You got a lot of room to get it done here. Remember yesterday, you were dumping that brown oxer and getting the lead change done before you got to the end.
Yeah.
So plenty of room to do it after this month. He quickened a little bit. Brady, back to the walk. think about this a little bit. I mean, I don't want to necessarily take the spurs off because he wants you to take the spurs
I
off.
mean, these are big spurs.
They are.
I have a little set of spurs I can put on.
Do you have spurs on yesterday?
Yeah, these. I've worn these every day.
Leave them on, but let me adjust this a little bit.
He's just so lazy too. Especially on the break.
I like a decent sized spur. I like them really low in the foot. So that you can ride without it when you choose to. And then you can always turn the toe up, lift the tail up, and give a little stab if you want to. So that's pretty good. Where I think where it was before, it's probably there a lot more than it's not. But the really good thing on that left lane canter departure, that when he started to misbehave, he just rode right through it fearlessly, which was really good. So hard to be fearless, so hard to find that happy medium, because fearful can mean either, okay, you win, I stop, I quit, or the other fearful thing that a rider can do is just go nuts overboard as well. And they just start, cowboy kicking and chasing, and Swiss doesn't do that either. Swiss being constructive, this is what we're doing, you're not doing what I'm asking you, this is what I want, type of reaction, as opposed to any sort of overreaction or inaction. So, smarter ride. Do that right lane again. Hold it. There we go. Little bit more canter now, a little bit longer, and shorter, and left. Brady, what do you think the chances are that you're going to have to land after this jump and do a simple change?
Pretty high.
Yeah. Because right now you're 3 for 3 on landing on that outside lead. So I count on it happening again. So I would think slow and left and simple change. Which, of course the horse lands on the inside lead. But I would still think that same process. As I said yesterday, initiate the process of going to simple change. And if in the process of initiating that, you find that he's done it correctly, then stay at the canter. No, that was a terrible move. Back to the walk. What in the world were you thinking there? I do. What you were thinking is there's the long distance, I'm going to ride for the long distance. Is that a smart move? No. Forget about the distance. You know how I feel. The commitment to the distance is a lot less important than the commitment to that nice even rhythm that I know is something that you're still trying to establish. So approach that jump right lane, start with a decent canter, 2 to 3 strides in front of the jump, start to slow the horse down. As you do that, start to take it left, continue that decrease after the jump, like you're about to do a left lead, for the first 3 strides, maybe even 4 strides after the jump, the horse's canter should be identical. Progressively shortening, almost coming back to a trot. Just before you trot, at that stage you should have discovered whether you're on the inside or your outside leg. And I would love for you to feel what lead you're on. Because by having to look for it, you change the horse's balance, and when you're leaning to the inside and the horse is on the outside lead, it throws his balance off quite a bit. So it's feeling the lead that you're on is a skill that I want you to learn next week. And it's actually something that literally it will be a week of you focusing on it, that you'll figure out how to do it, and you'll be thankful for the rest of your life that you've done it. And a lot of people continue to look for
like a paper plate?